Yeah, we can see you.
Yeah.
Okay, because it seemed like it's a shadow. Okay, cool.
It's a slight shadow over a little bit of your head, but we can still we can see you good enough.
Okay.
Pace.
All right. All right.
Yeah, I mean, the ladies can't see your arms, dog, but the face will
I
do,
back it
dog.
up. I back it up a little bit.
There you go. We look at this
Looking like a 1990s video vixen, old Mekhi Phifer looking like Grandpa Frank looking at. Nah, but all right, let's get it started. Here we go. 3, 2. We ain't even gotta do all that. We can just kick it off, D. You know what I'm saying? Look, man, Holdin Court Podcast has been making waves not only throughout Kansas City, but throughout the country. The latest podcast with Strange Music CEO Travis O'Gwen is been going bananas. It definitely went bananas in the town. And look, man, we always like to welcome a featured cousin on the show on Hustle and Shine in the morning, Courtney Richardson, aka Court Dog. If you really from KC, how you doing, fam? Congratulations on the success, man.
Man, I'm good. I appreciate it, brother. I appreciate it, man. Hey, listen, I have to really just show love to you and D, man, because y'all always ingratiate me and welcome me to the show, man. Listen, much love. I appreciate y'all. Y'all do a great job, brother.
We appreciate that love. B, I'm sure you want to start it off, right? Yay, nay, you cool?
Right, go ahead. You got the mic. Kick it off.
So I want to set it off with, first and foremost, your conversation with Travis from Strange. What inspires you to even dig deep into the crates of Kansas City?
Well, I'm gonna be honest. That was a long time coming. I've been knowing Travis for about 20 years, so we've always been very friendly and cordial. We've been talking about this since I had the platform. I was like, man, because see, I understand that my platform has reach. So I understand when I'm talking to the world. So I want to always showcase the best of KC, and when I say the best, we're not talking about perfection, but just people at the top of their games, their respective lanes. You know what I mean? So, I feel like Strange just has never, in terms of the media, got the attention that they deserve, and shout out to Travis. I mean, his business acumen, his genius, the way that he's built the infrastructure of Strange. We have this right in Kansas City, Missouri. So, being that I have eyes on me and I kind of have the social currency to be able to showcase that, I just felt like it needed to be put out there, and then also with the local music politics, the streets, they say what they say. The music community have their opinions, but it's always good to hear, different sides of things, So I just felt like it needed to be showcased to the world, as Brian said, it got to be shown to the world.
Yeah, I've been around Travis a million times, and every time I leave, I feel a million times smarter in the music industry.
Yeah, right.
What is something that you particularly learned from this interview that you had no clue about?
Oh man, it was a lot. It was a lot because I mean the interview, of course, those listening, Holdin Court Podcast on YouTube, and all streaming platforms on the audio side, it was almost 3 hours long, which we could have went longer, to be honest with you. But I learned, man, just really how the infrastructure of Strange, him building the vertical business, and somewhat I believe he referred to it as a horizontal business as well, but it was a term that he used. But just the way that all the businesses are kind of encompass Strange music is really quite brilliant, just on the business side of it. Some of the backstory I already knew because I had Dave Weiner, who was also vice president of Strange Music. I had him on the show as well. But just as I didn't realize that Strange was so autonomous, meaning that everything is self-contained. The manufacturing, the merchandising, the everything is right there. And you have major labels that don't operate like that. So that was a very, fascinating fact that I learned.
Yeah, the manufacturing that Strange does with their own shirts, like they have a warehouse of
Warehouse.
their own shirts, their
Yes.
own, just when they had CDs, they own CDs,
Yes.
everything.
And,
And
and real quick, B, not
yeah,
not only just the only warehouse, the dude, man, they got their own pressing plant.
mm-hmm.
That's the thing.
Wow.
So So Travis orders cotton. You see what I'm saying? He don't order shirts and then press on them like
So
he
let's do
orders
this.
cotton.
Paint the picture, Court, as an artist. So all
Yeah.
right, especially like independent artists are running everything now. So it's like
Hmm.
I'm an independent artist. I got my merch. Usually only have like a limited amount of merch, but
Hmm.
with these strange music trucks, I got tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of merch to where if we go on a 50 city tour, I don't have to go back and re-up. We already got it on us. Can you talk about how much of an advantage that is as somebody who's independent who relies solely upon your own income to function?
Yeah. Well, it can be difficult for independent, but I think what an artist, what they have to know, and what Strange knew early on, is that so music, especially now with the streaming, which is what Travis broke down, how streaming works and how it's been really kind of devastating to the music industry in terms of economically. Um, the music is a tool. It's a vessel. It's a
Mm-hmm.
vessel to basically get to other avenues of income, right? Because Strange, most of their income and their profit is from the merchandise and the touring, you know what I'm saying? By way of the music. So, one thing that I learned from working with Master P for so long, that's why he always says product outweighs talent. Because at the end of the day, most billionaires are billionaires, not just because of several streams of income, but also because of a product. Because there's something being sold, there's a tangible good, or it's some type of solution to a problem. You know what I mean? So I think it's important that independent artists know the importance of your brand, and diversifying that brand. How many ways can you monetize the brand? Don't just count on the music. The music is an advertising for all these other things attached to the brand. So that's one thing that Strange understood early on. And they really, Travis and his team, they really done a wonder with that.
I think with your interview, it also helps others that might not know the backstory, like me, have a newfound respect for Travis, Strange, and Tech Nine. And it sounds like you too. Even some of the things that you've learned, you have kind of like even more of a respect of like, man, y'all really kind of got it out the mud and you figured it out. And then the other part to your interview is it did cause controversy online, but I think it sparked healthy conversations of a lot of people that might not have had an opportunity to speak out or had ties to it. So it was a lot of players online in the town that were able to speak on it. And you being from Kansas City, do you feel like there are more unsung stories that need to be told?
I absolutely do. Absolutely. And even outside of the music business. Yeah, absolutely. And I'm always looking for those jewels, and even myself, some people, you guys understand this, because you have a platform, you have the biggest platform in the city. So, it's hard to find the people. Some people don't understand that you want to get the creme de la creme. You have to get the people that are actually doing at the top of their game in their respective fields. You know what I mean? So, like, you can't just have any and everybody come onto your platform, right? Just because they think they have a dope story, right? You actually have to put in the work. And not to trail off, but that's kind of what gets lost with social media now, because you can have a lot of people that have popularity but ain't necessarily done anything or accomplished anything. So I know for a fact there are a lot of people, in Kansas City. I mean, I would love to have Rich the Factor on the show. I know he's a local and regional guy that has done his thing as well. There's a few other people that I would love to have on, and even athletes, different people like that. Of course, Janelle Monae, I would love to have her on the show. So yeah, we have a lot of unsung heroes in the city. And I just want to do my part, as someone who has built a platform, a national platform. I want to be able to reach back and shed some light on not just anybody, but the people that really have put in the work. As you said, Deanna, that was great. Unsung heroes that have really, done some really amazing things.
Yeah, man. You mentioned Rich, and I kind of look at him and Tech as just two kings in one city, with
Yeah,
two different avenues, two different completely different audiences.
for
There
sure.
is some crossover there. Me being one of them for sure, but
Yeah.
um, with the with the with the independence that we have, and the success that we have of the independence and with the artists that we have here in KC, I find it that some of the difficulties that we do have is that it sure in the hell ain't the talent. We look,
No.
man. There's countless amount of rappers. I've been involved in the KC music scene for 19 years now, and there have been countless amounts of singers, rappers, dancers, poets, whatever that has been in this city. But there's a common problem with a lot of our artists in KC, and that's there's no direction. There's no business infrastructure in Kansas
Mhm.
City, not a strong one at all.
Yeah. Yes.
Or how can we spread awareness with that? How can the Holdin Court podcast by through like interviews with Travis O'Gwen from Strange Music, how can we help build that infrastructure in Kansas City? Because if we get that, baby, all we need is that avenue with more structure and less what's the word I'm looking for? Rigmarole.
Yeah. um Man, that is a question that myself and a few others have been trying to solve. I've said this time and time again. If you look at Baton Rouge, Baton Rouge, they've had momentum. They got several stars. Baton Rouge is like Springfield, Missouri. They're half the size of Kansas City, and Kansas City doesn't have, like you said, it's no lack of talent. Um, we've had moments, but we need a movement. We've had a few people that have moments, but we need a movement. I think that I don't know. And I don't want to be overcritical, but I think that it's the culture. It's some of it is the culture and the mentalities that we have to reshape, right, and refocus and retrain. I think it's the being able to be receptive to new information and apply it. A lot of times, some of the younger artists, when you try to give them some new information, they tend to feel attacked, or they get defensive. I think understanding the importance of nurturing relationships, that's the cornerstone of any good business, and especially in the entertainment business. Good relationships. But we have this thing in KC called Jeffing. That's one of the most destructive to me concepts, because
See, and,
it,
and
it,
let and that's ego. That ain't nothing but ego, bro. Because
it,
it's
it
like because it depends on I'm making this word up, the Jefftivity of who's Jeffing. You know,
right.
I'm like dead ass for real. Cause it's
Yeah.
like
It's crazy.
somebody could be hating on somebody else because they're
Yeah.
getting love from somebody and they could
Yep.
call it Jeffing when
Yep.
it's really like genuine love,
It's
bro. And
love.
they're creating this hate.
It's divisive. Like Jeffin, when I was a kid, was just really butt kissing. It just meant that you're kissing somebody's butt. Now it's taken on such a sinister meaning to it, right?
Right.
You can't be respectful. You can't just tell somebody good job, I hope you make it, or you're Jeffin. You know what I mean? So it's super divisive. And then I think just it's a lot of hate, it's a lot of competition, and what happens with that is it keeps everybody on the island, so there's no sharing in information, there's no sharing in resource. You see what I'm saying? Because some people, this guy over here, he might have a key to a door that you need to walk through, but you don't want to Jeff. You see what I'm saying? So you didn't cultivate that relationship. So I think that, if the culture could change a little bit and they be receptive to new information, they be receptive to working together, sharing resource, sharing information. And another thing that I noticed too, for someone like me, and I'm sure people that are further ahead in their journeys and have reached a level of success, they don't want to listen, they just want you to give them something. Because it becomes this thing of, oh, he ain't doing nothing for me, you give me something, cash me out, give me something, give me something. It's like, no, I'm teaching you how to fish. I'm actually giving you information. That's the most valuable thing, because one thing you can, as they say, a fool and his money shall soon part. You can give someone that has a poverty-stricken mind state $1 million. If they don't do the work mentally, they're going to be broke in a year. You know what I'm saying? So you can give a person all the resource in the world, but if the mindset doesn't change, then it's all for naught. So I think it's just, we have to we got to undo some divisive things and really, but the talent is there. The talent is there. But that's what I would say, bro. Young artists, it's nothing wrong with having a mentor. Study those who are further ahead than you, that already done what you've done. And be pliable, be receptive to the new information. Social media is your friend. I tell people, I built Holdin Court Podcast. It's almost $1 million a year business, right? I started almost 4 years ago. Posting to social media is free. So get your content game up, get your creativity game up, find your people. You know what I mean? Like, don't rely so much on local support. Don't get into this rut of, I post once, everybody hating, don't nobody want to see me win. No, man, it takes time to build a brand. You have to be consistent and find your people. You don't have to rely on Kansas City. You don't have to read, man, you got social media, which is access to the world. It's 1 billion people out there. Find your people. So, that's what I would say, man. We just gotta, kind of reverse engineer the culture.
That's perfect advice.
Yeah. Like, do you guys something?
I mean, honestly, that was going to be the question, is some sound advice for specifically KC artists, but I mean, he hit it completely on the head. And I was expecting him to mention not just focus on local, go worldwide. And I feel like that is something that we see in the town, is some of the people that have, gone on to do some amazing things. They did their thing here and they still come back, but they also were like, look, let me touch the world. And when you look at the music industry, you see Kansas City everywhere. You see Lil Ronnie, you see Jay White, you see Janelle Monáe, you see Tech Nine, you see Brian Kennedy, you see these talents. And a lot of people don't know that it's all homegrown from Kansas City, but it has to be that mentality of surpassing the hometown.
Yeah, it's you have to, because one thing that I know, right? You figure I moved to Los Angeles 22 years ago. The mistake that I see a lot of, because we're so proud of Kansas City. We're proud. We wear it, with pride, but we got to understand that, nobody cares but us. You know what I'm saying? So the mistake that you don't want to make is you don't want to turn your back on the world and just talk to Kansas City. You rather want to put Kansas City on your back and then go out into the world. So you have to be great. A lot of times we're so proud of being from Kansas City that we lead with that. We think that somehow or another, when we say, yeah, I'm from Kansas City, that's going to open doors. It's not. You have to be great at what you do, and you just happen to be from Kansas City. You know what I mean? So, like I said, I think it's the reverse engineering of the culture and the mentalities, and just, man, do the work. Another thing that I've learned too, and this is, people are not a monolith, so I'm not saying it's everybody, but there's a lot of artists that are putting in the work. There are. But what I see a lot is a lot of artists think they want that life and they want to be in the business until the work really starts. You know what I mean? Like, it's easy to go into the studio with your homeboys and y'all vibing and y'all riding and it's cool. But when you start pulling artists out of their comfort zones and say, okay, you got to create content. You need to do that every day, post 3 times a day. You need to do photo shoots. You need to engage. You need to go live. You need to do some podcasts. Where's your EPK? We need to do a media kit. You need to grow your brand. You need to find your people. That's where it starts to falter, especially sometime with the street rappers, because they want to say, oh, well, I ain't no internet dude. I'm real. I'm the streets. I'm like, yeah, but you kind of got to, if you want to be in this profession, you kind of got to be an internet dude, right? Because that's where the game's being played. So you got to sell your product. So I think that, we could benefit from having like different conferences down there to educate, just so they can know what their options are, what's available to them. And there are techniques and different strategies and stuff on social media, but they got to be willing to show up. Because, like, I was just talking with Jazz Brewer the other day, and he even mentioned that there was a couple, things that he had put on and had, some notable people from the city and outside the city come, but very few people showed up to get the information. So
yeah, the Hot 103 Jams Music Conference.
Okay.
That's what he's talking about.
Okay.
We had it for 3-4 years, and bro, the information that was given at those conferences, it was, at the time, it was priceless. The information, they were speaking, years beyond years of
Yeah,
some artists' heads that were, that were there, and you didn't have some of the more popular artists in
yeah,
KC there,
yeah,
And
yeah, for sure.
that I'll even mention, I wasn't working at the station at the time, but even knowing that they had Matthew Knowles, Beyonce's father, there,
Right,
these
right.
this is the right person that you should be meeting. And so just hearing
Yeah,
about that, I'm like, wow, that was here in Kansas City. So yeah, knowing about those resources and everybody just actually tapping into them and not, just saying, forget it, I'll go to the next one, and it might not be a next one.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'm telling you, what I see a lot of the times is they want the resource. But like I've had young guys come up to me and say, "Man, I feel like you could be doing more in the city. You could do this, you could do that." And I'd ask them. I said, I wouldn't take offense to it. I say, "Well, do you know what it takes to work a record? How much do you think it takes to break a record? Or if I gave you, $50,000, how would you break your record?" They can never tell me. So then when you put them on the spot and say, well, what is your strategy? What's your rollout? Do you know what would be your rollout? They can't tell me. And I'm like, this is why you need the information. So what are we talking about? So I think it's just, they have to learn how to be receptive to the wisdom, you know what I mean? And understand that you guys have the talent. It's not the talent, but sometimes you got to find a new approach to an old dream. You know what I mean? So
Mm.
it's like, be pliable. You can be stubborn with your goals, but you got to be flexible with the methods. So take in, the information. That's all I see. It really is just the lack of information and execution.
And shout out to the KC artists that do
Mhm.
actually do the stuff we're talking about. A lot of people are missing, because it is like you got several different people that actually really tap in and really do
We
that
do.
stuff. I see them online, like Rob Lowe
Yeah.
Star. She's going
Rob
crazy.
Lowe, Rob Lowe Star, Miss Cush, Dewey the Don. Um, who
Judy
else?
the Truth is
I
a
mean,
few.
I'm
Yeah.
just saying, me and Rob Lowe, we got a couple records on the way. I ain't saying.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm
Shout out to
like,
Rob Lowe. Yeah,
yeah,
Rob Lowe is one of my favorite people. Such a sweet and humble
yeah, man.
person, man.
Indeed.
I love Rob Lowe. Miss Cush, all of them, Dewey the Don, C Dub the
Yeah.
Young Blood. There's so many people that are finding their people. So that's why I said we're not talking about everybody. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
There are a lot of people that are putting in the work and they're doing the work. Shout out to Two Times. It's yeah, I like a lot of artists from Kansas City, man. And I try to do my part to help them or facilitate whenever like I told you guys, I'm in the studio right now in North Hollywood. I got Sunday out here. She's in the studio right now with a producer, a Grammy nominated producer that I hooked her up with. He produced for Tech Nine, for Busta Rhymes, and several other people. Cali Swag District. She in
Oh,
there
I
right
need
now.
I need to tap in, Court Dog.
That's why I stepped out to the car, because I'm here at the studio with Sunday right now.
Man,
North
I need to
Hollywood.
tap into that. You know what I'm saying? But look, man, I feel like this has been a very, very, very positive and productive conversation, man.
Yes,
And no
sir.
means are we trying to come down on any artists or trying to shatter
No,
any dreams. We
not
trying to
at
keep it
all.
as real as possible and trying to
Yeah,
lead you in the right direction by having
yeah.
purposeful and productive conversations.
Yes,
Um,
yes. I'm glad you said that, Brian. And I want to reiterate, listen, young artists, we are not being overcritical, man. I support you guys. We love y'all. We want to see y'all win. It's not a lack of talent, man. Y'all have so much talent. We just want to see it, grow to its full potential. We want to see the city again, not just have a moment, but have a movement. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to see us have a run like Atlanta. We as good as them, if not better. You know what I'm saying? We can have a run like Houston, all these other cities, but you know, we can do it. It'll come. It's moving in that direction. So yeah, we definitely don't want y'all to feel, like, damn, we can't get it right. Nah, man,
we
y'all
can.
y'all special. Y'all gonna be all right.
Yeah, you said earlier, we might over rep the city a little bit, but
Yeah.
I don't know if somebody can top you in this blue ass Chief shirt that you wore. What bootleg man in Kansas City? I want you to shout him out. What bootleg man did you get that from?
That's from the homie Ramon. Ramon Basie is his name. He
Okay.
makes all my blue KC gear stuff and all my, you know what I'm saying, my Keyway Chief stuff with the
Uh,
C and all of that. Yeah, he
yeah,
do all of that.
Shouts to all the left siders, you know, I understand the
Yes,
left
yeah, yeah,
siders
yeah,
in the
yeah.
building. You're
Shout
right,
out to
Shyne.
Ramon Basin. Yeah, he do all of that. Hey,
Yeah.
and I got him a lot of business, even overseas. He be like, man, dude, you got people hit me and tagging me from England, from all the UK, Australia, trying to get blue KC stuff. So yeah.
It ain't KC unless you just got a little bit of crip in there, just a little
Yeah, yeah,
bit, just
yeah,
a
right.
dash.
Go ahead and get you one, B.
That ain't my style, man. I'm good. Look, man, y'all, this is the Royals. I do my Royals is blue and the Chiefs is my red, and then Missouri is the black and gold. So yeah, we'll keep it
Yeah.
there. Man, D, you got anything else? I don't want to
No.
hog the entire interview, man. It's been a wealth of information. Court
Yes.
Dog, man, bro, always appreciate you, man, for joining us. Take your time
Appreciate
out
you
of your
guys,
busy,
man.
busy schedule. You in the whip right now. You could somebody could catch you lacking. So we need to hurry up and get off here, dog.
Nah,
Man, we
hey, I
appreciate you.
know. Oh no, I ain't lacking. I'm never lacking.
Another
You know what
KC
I'm saying?
reference right there, baby.
I'm right here with it. I'm right here. I'm always heavy.
Yes, sir. Man, big love, big success for you and the
Yes, sir.
Holdin Court
Yes.
Podcast. And you already know, man, with me and D, you always got a home right here on Hustle
Yes,
and
sir.
Shine in the morning, man.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
man. Appreciate y'all, man. God bless y'all.
You too.